I am 100% sure that every creative traveling, whether it's a motorcycle or a car, in this case the motorcycle, they are worried about having gear with them and having it safe. I have carried it in a tank bag, carried it in a backpack, in a side aluminium pannier. That was kind of okay, but I didn't have a good enough bag to get in there. It was kind of loose in the pannier, so also not a very good idea. In the end, I started riding with my gear in the back. I had the Scout duffel bag from Moscow, in which I put a Peak Design camera cube, and it just barely fit. But the issue with that is that you have a duffel bag that is strapped to the side. You have to roll it up, you have to open it, get into the camera cube, and it's just so many steps before you have the camera. Hence why I had my camera around my neck a lot of times. A few 100 meters further down the road, I would be stopping again and wanted to make another picture. It was on top of my annoyance list. So in the end, and I was looking at this for a long time, but I was so hesitant because it is such a big box and I do not like the look of a top case on the Desert X. So I forgive myself that it's a Peli case in this case. I tried almost everything, I think, in the book, but it was time to get a decent upgrade. I have 3 layers of foam in here, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 layer on the bottom, and of course this one that came with the whole set. I have traveled with it now for along the lines of 2,000 kilometers. The highway, mountain passes, and some not intended off-road, but it's so freaking sturdy. Some brands do have like the plates that you can use for the top cases. I really wanted this because I know how strong the Moscow wedge is. Yeah, it's a Sunday. What I did is is there more coming? No. I have a shitload of longboards at home. For anyone unknown with longboards and skateboards, it's like you have the wooden board and then you have the wheels, and the thing that holds the board and the wheels together is called a truck. They use bushings. One is very soft and squishy and the other one is very hard, so it makes it more hard to move around with the truck. A long story short, I wanted to see if I can put the bushings of my longboards in here. I don't have any spare ones anymore, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go with something else. What I did now is use, these are kind of like rubber pads that you put under the washing machine. As you can see, I have used some of Moscow's pucks, make it a tight connection, but I did have to cut out a little piece of the Perun Moto luggage rack here and there. I know this is not a solution for everyone. Of course, I went with a pretty big Peli case because I just want to make sure that all my gear is safe and protected. It is a pretty easy solution. Ah, there it went in one go. But not for everyone, like I said. I really still have to get used to this big thing in the back. But having this easy access and just grabbing everything, close it off and be done, it's gonna be so much time that I'm gonna save with this, and so much annoyance. It's not only the big updates, it's not only the most visible things, I also have some smaller upgrades installed. And I'm actually looking into a dashboard change, a whole new layout, but for that I need a bracket of some sort. So I'm scouting around to see if I can find anything that works for the Desert X. I was going crazy with my own setup because I had the dashboard, the TomTom, I had the GoPro, and then my phone, and it was just too much. Fair to say that a phone nowadays is the most used gadget, or the thing we carry with us everywhere 24/7. Most of us, at least. I have been a long-term user of the Peak Design phone mount on the motorcycle. And about this one, I get a lot of questions as well. How can it survive all the vibrations from the bike? Well, I will explain to you that this head, this is the ram mount arm, and the head on the ram mount ball is the only piece of equipment that you need, because the vibration dampener is built in here. It uses a soft and a hard locking mechanism. It's so easy to get the phone off. It's like one button on the side. You don't even have to press both of them. You can just push one and then just take off the phone. The best thing is that they're gonna come out with a charging head. How's that for good news? I have used the double take mirrors now for a while, and I just recently have gotten my hands on the new system, which is their own system, which is a lot stronger, a lot more practical to use, and let's face it, it's just an unbeaten system. And right below the mirrors you have the Barkbuster handguards. Now I think every ADV rider should have a set of reinforced handguards. Also, a big part of this review video is answering some questions that you guys have had and asked me throughout the entire time that I've actually had the bike. One of the main things that people ask me is, how tall are you? How tall is the bike? Can I ride it? Is it gonna be big, too big for me? All I can say is, don't let people tell you what you can and cannot do. If you feel confident enough to get on a big bike, because it is a big bike and I am not the tallest one, then go do it. Please don't let anyone ever tell you that you shouldn't be riding a certain bike. That's your decision to make. With that being said, because I think that is very important, I also got the question, is it a good beginner's bike? I don't know where to start with that question, because what is a beginner's bike? It could be a wise decision to start on a somewhat lighter bike, but then again, by all means, go buy the fucking bike if you want to. So it's one of the things that annoys me the most when people are telling others, especially riders that are just starting out, what they should and shouldn't buy. I think you should be the judge of what you can and cannot do. So the maintenance is something that I got lots of questions about. And so I think for the maintenance, except like the standard, the Desmo service, etc. For me personally, I change tires every 10 or 15,000 kilometers. Depends if I've done off-road, depends if I've done a lot of highway, because I really don't like my rear tire being flat. You can always check with the mechanics what is your hourly rate for the workshop, and since this is a new bike, it has 4 years of warranty. I don't want to mess with that because there were some issues that I needed my warranty for. I am in good relationship with my dealer, Ducati Amsterdam. They get a lot of work from it because I travel a lot. So everyone's happy, I'm happy. I have a good service bike. I can always count on their service, and it's just 1 + 1 is 2 for me. I don't really like to service my bike anywhere else than the official dealer, especially not with a new bike. How long does it take to change the air filter? Well, as you probably may have read or seen, the air filter is a big thing on the Desert X. I have removed the OEM filter and I've placed a DNA air filter in there, which means I have a little bit less maintenance to do and I don't ride dusty pads every day. So in terms of taking it on and off, I think I would mess that up big time. So I just leave that to the professionals. But changing an air filter, if I would do it, it would take hours. But they say you can do it in like 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how clumsy you are. Why did you choose Ducati over any other motorcycle company? For me, that's a no-brainer. I've tried so many bikes, but it doesn't have the same feeling that I get with Ducati. I'm not exclusive. I do like other brands, but in terms of riding, this for me is the bike. I just don't know what it is about it. It has the right amount of torque. It's sporty. I like that I have to work a little bit. I like the 2-cylinder bikes more than the 4-cylinder bikes. The used materials are just better than some other brands, in my opinion. I love the look of the Desert X. Ever since I saw the EICMA prototypes, I was like, oh, if that comes out, oh my God. I was already looking at an adventure bike back then, but I was like, okay, if this is becoming reality, then I'm the first in line to get one. I was actually the first one in the Benelux to get it, so that's pretty cool. That also resulted in me having a few issues because I had one of the first ones. Let's see. What do you hate the most about this beauty? Well, I don't know. I think that it's high. That was one of the things that I really hated, but I got over that. I got used to it. I got it lowered. One of the other things that I might hate is that I have to fill up so much because it's really inviting to ride it very sporty. But not so much things I hate about this bike actually. Yeah, okay, no, wait. The handlebar. When I'm on the bike, it's very hard for me at times to be all the way. As you can see, I have to like really reach. That is one of the things I truly hate about the bike. How is the new color feeling? Now, mind you, these are questions that I got throughout the whole period that I've done the last makeover video. I'm still loving the new color. You can read in my blog on the website that I actually wanted to go with a kind of a green color. And I'm really happy that I didn't, because I think I would become pretty sick of it pretty easily. The sand color is still, yeah, I love it. It's a little wink to the Enduro Multistrada, so still good. Dream bike right there. How is the heat from the engine or the seat while riding in warm weather? Everyone said to me that I would be screaming from the heat that would come off, but I must say it's not that bad. Yes, of course, in the summertime it gets more hot, but nothing excruciating that I just want to jump off. No, not at all. My monster gets more hot. I don't know how others have experienced this, but for me, I don't notice the extreme hot temperatures. How much kilometer radius do you get out of one tank, give or take? Depends on the riding, but if I would be on the highway, easily 350 kilometers. If I do a little bit of mix, so to say highway, villages, maybe mountain passes, then I think around 300 for sure. I also test the spare tank. If it's going on red, I still have around 50 kilometers to go. And after that, it's done. I stood still in Sardinia. And then Alessandro had to come with a bottle of gasoline. Any extra mods required straight away? I think this is a good thing to get back to what I said earlier, that some things are just worth the price tag in terms of getting the bike enhanced and more reactive to your own riding style. How you buy it, it's not that bad. I mean, even the standard exhaust has a really nice rumble to it. I do think protection is a very, very important part of any bike. So I'd say radiator guard, crash bars, maybe something on the back. I have like spindles on the how do you say that, the axle, and like the, how do you call that, the paddock stands, which can save, it can just save you in some situations. Just protection overall is, I think, a good first modification for any bike. Do you have stalling issues when even in neutral, that it's a little bit, makes it almost die? I did have some issues with shifting gears in the quick shifter, that it gets into neutral between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 sometimes, but that's just a thing of putting more power behind it. Because if you are too sweet, if you are too kind with the Ducati, it doesn't shift like you want. So just get in there and then just have a good shifting machine. Do you have to be a badass like yourself to buy one? No, you don't. Anyone can buy it. That's a very easy question. Electronics, good or bad? Don't ask me why, but I've never heard anyone complain about this. But if I have it on cruise control, I cannot ride certain speeds. So for example, I cannot ride 75, or I cannot ride 126 or 47, or it's like the most random numbers that I cannot put on the cruise control. I really like to be on 100, 105, 110, 120, 125, etc. I like to be in steps of 5, but I can't with a lot of speed. So that was messing with my mind, and I haven't heard anyone with the Desert X about the same problem. So maybe it's just me. Fuel efficiency, well, I kind of already spoke about that, but a good 300 kilometer range, and I think I have to check what my it's around 5.5 liters on 100 kilometers. I'd say that is not too bad considering the sporty kind of riding style that I sometimes have. So yeah, it's not that bad. Can you say what you would improve on the bike? The height? Make it more accessible for shorter people. What would I improve on the bike? Well, I mean, the improvements that I made are very obvious. I changed the color and I changed some of the designs and the graphics, but overall I think it's a pretty solid design. Well done, Jeremy, who I've met in Barcelona last year. In my opinion, why would I have chosen this over the Multistrada V4S? I love the Multi V4 and the V4S, but it's just not my bike. And I really want to be able to do everything with it. And I don't know, this is more suitable in my mind, at least, for off-roading. And I just love the looks of this one better. I love the handling more. So even though the Multistrada in every kind of way is a fantastic bike, I really prefer the Desert X in terms of looks and handling. How is the long distance travel comfort? I must say that it's been pretty good, actually. I've had days where I have been riding for 8 to 10 hours and still get off and feel like, oh, okay, I could go for another 2. But it's the bum. Yep, sometimes it's like, oh, and then you know it's time to call it a day. How about the off-road experience? I am not the most experienced off-roader. I probably will never be, and I accept that. I accept my fate, but I was really surprised how easily I could get through certain patches, and I was like, whoa, okay, I did not expect it to handle this easy for such a heavy bike. So I think to answer the next question, is it light and maneuverable enough for serious off-road riding? If you are skilled enough, then fuck yes. I don't know if you have seen Antoine Mayo, who is like the ambassador for the Desert X. I don't know if you've seen him ride. Okay, yes, he's a multi-time champion, motocross and everything. But if you have serious off-road skills, then this should be no problem for you, especially having this big wheel and the center of gravity. I really love it, and I really wish I had more experience because I would ride the hell out of this beast. Everyone is always eager to know what goes wrong with a bike, and it hasn't been any different from the questions that I got if I had any problems in the 50,000 kilometers that I've ridden with this bike. Yes, I have had some obstacles with the bike, not major ones, but few inconveniences, and one of them was pretty recently actually, the dashboard and the lights in front. It all just went out, it was black. I stopped and I thought to myself, okay, if I shut it off, can I start it again? Didn't think about it anymore, just turned it off. And then I wanted to turn the ignition back on. I didn't see anything, but I could hear the engine click. I could hear that it was reacting, but I just couldn't start anymore. And so I called my dealer. I said, hey, I think it's a fuse, but could you check which one? So they helped me and they said, well, you have to replace this one. I did. started up and then the dashboard was working again, lights were working again, etc. It hasn't happened within a month, but then on the recent trip I had the same issue. Getting the bike out of the van, getting it in, I just had it started, I just rode it in, etc. No issues whatsoever. I took it out 2 days later and the bike didn't start, same issue. I was like, okay, well now I at least know what it is. So I just changed the fuse and then I rode off, and within 2 minutes it was black again. I went to a local Ducati dealer and they checked everything for me. I thought it was maybe like a disconnected cable from the dashboard to the back. That wasn't the problem because it still happened. So I think I've blown 5 or 6 fuses, and they asked me like, do you think could it maybe be a battery issue, because the lithium battery, it's strong, but it also was very non-reactive with cold weather. So after one night in like maybe 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, it didn't start anymore. So they changed the battery for a regular one, and now I haven't had any issues. So I hope that was the thing. With the same surface, it was kind of funny, but in the end it was not. I had a new set of Pirelli Rally Streets with me, and I asked them, hey, do you maybe have time to change them? 15-20 minutes later, he comes walking up to me and I said, do you have good news? And he said, no, I think you should come walk with me. And he showed me on the other side of the bike the radiator hose that is near like the upper part of your boot. It was so rubbed down, so I think my boot has been rubbing against it, causing it to be really thin. And he said this could be a major problem because this could snap within a few kilometers or maybe 1,000 kilometers. They pulled apart a spare engine and a spare piece of a Desert X that they had, and they replaced the tube and they put on an extra layer of rubber just so I can replace that piece of rubber instead of the hose the next time it happens. But I was super happy. Ooh, that's thunder in the distance. I was just super happy that they discovered that, because that could have ended dramatically. Now, in terms of other stuff that happened, I don't have the biggest issues. Only thing I had was with the front discs, is that they had a little nick in them, and so they have replaced that under warranty, and I haven't had any issues with it anymore. Oh wait, there was one thing. So the side stand was super long. That was a malfunction from the factory. And later on they changed the side stands for many bikes, but it was so long that it was like standing upright, but like this, even more. I cannot even show, like this. Is it like gonna tip over this side? And I always had struggles with parking it on a mountain pass or anywhere. So I really had to check, how is the surface? Is this lower than that side? And then it was horrible. So at one point I just let the dealer chop off a little bit and then weld it back together, and that helped. And then when I got the lowered suspension kit, they replaced the side stand with it. So yeah, nothing that hasn't been solved. So I'm very happy with the overall bike. If you want to know anything else about this bike, about how I have been experiencing it, please let me know and I will answer it in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I really hope that you gained some information about the Desert X in this video. If not, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's not a technical video, it's pure personal experience. So yeah, stay tuned for more. New series are coming up, and I think it's gonna get pretty dark. I need to go that way, luckily, but that really doesn't look that good, so I'm gonna pack up and go.